trivial things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things that were, I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for.
At what age did that goal become crystal clear that that's what you
I made that deal with myself at 13 years old.
At 13 years old?
13 years old. That's the deal I made.
You were crystal clear about it?
Crystal clear.
And where did the inspiration come from?
The love of the game. The love of the game, the challenge. Like, I would watch Magic play, I'd watch Michael play, and I would see them do these unbelievable things, and I'd say, you know, can I get to that level? I don't know, but let's find out. Let's find out. And so that curiosity to see where I could push this thing led me down that path.
So the one thing when I see with you, and I think about like brain and I think focus, like you know how so many different things brain can get distracted on, and I'm going to put focus on this and focus on this and focus on this. Mm-hmm. Do you think one of the edge you had over everybody else was the biggest percentage of your focus was on one thing? Mm-hmm. Do you see it that way? Like that was my edge over everybody else?
I do. At the time, I didn't really understand that, right? So, you know, basketball for me was the most important thing. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything, everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft. I see a lot of players take vacations with other players that are close friends. And they'll just take vacations just to take vacations, or just hang out just to hang out. Like I never did that. But
why not though? Why didn't you do that?
Well, because when I retire, I didn't want to have to say, I wish I would have done more. I don't want that.
He said nobody in his history of coaching had your level of work ethic. I mean, you hear so many guys tell stories about your work ethic. Yeah. What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined?
Well, I mean, every day. I mean, since, for 20 years. I mean, it was an everyday process and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. My vertical was a 40. It wasn't a 46 or a 40, 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive. Right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast. Right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game, and it just never changed.
What were some of the factors you looked at on how to improve your game season after season?
The game itself it's a complicated answer. So there are very tactical things in terms of footwork and geometry of the court. So you're looking at the court and looking at the 45-degree angles that the court is shaped in and how it needs to operate. That's one component to it. So looking at spots on the floor where you can increase your efficiency. Right? You can be on the wing, but there's a certain spot on the wing that improves your angle to drive to the basket, right? So that sort of stuff. Footwork of the opposition, looking at the emotion of the opposition, their tendencies, their weaknesses, and all that stuff. Understanding the momentum of the game, how to create momentum shifts, where momentum shifts come from, all this sort of stuff. And then studying outside of that, right? Looking at different industries, looking at conductors, looking at writers, looking at actors and how they get into character, and then how do they keep themselves in that mental space. So looking at different industries, looking at nature itself, and learning from that and how you can incorporate that into the game. I bought into the meditation. I bought into the deeper connection that exists within the game. And so when you watch our teams, or you watch any of Phil's teams, or Chicago teams, Game 6 against Utah, you watch our games, Game 7 against Boston, we were never rattled, ever, because we were always in the moment, always in the present, always extremely calm, always looking at the reality of the situation and not letting our emotions cloud our execution. And that comes from being in that meditative state that he would teach and preach from day one.
You're playing against the Golden State Warriors. Score is 107-109. You guys are close to getting into the playoffs. You know exactly what happens in the game. You go up, you're about to take your shot, and then all of a sudden, boom, Achilles happens, right? Friend of mine, Nima, he is here just to listen to. He played ball. And he told me, he says, Patrick, I don't think you understand. He says, when I tore my Achilles in high school, he says, 4 friends of mine dragged me to my hospital. I was crying from there straight to the hospital. He says, I have no clue how the hell this guy did it. He went and hit the free throws, and then you walked off the stage, and then you got the surgery done.
Yeah.
How the hell do you tolerate that kind of pain?
You know, I use this. I tell this example, and I think this is the best way to explain it. You know, you have a hamstring injury. You pull your hamstring really, really badly. You can barely walk, right? Let alone play anything, soccer, basketball, volleyball, whatever it is. You can't do anything. Doctor tells you go home, sit up on the couch, rest your hammy, right? Stay off of it. Don't get up. No sudden movements. You're at home, all of a sudden a fire breaks out in the home, right? Your kids are upstairs, you know, wife is wherever she may be, you know, this shit's going down, all right? I'm willing to bet that you're gonna forget about your hamstring, you're gonna sprint upstairs, you're gonna grab your kids, you're gonna make sure your wife's good, you're getting out of that house, right? Hamstring be damned. You're not gonna feel your hamstring, right? And the reason is because the lives of your family are more important than the injury of your hamstring. And so when the game is more important than the injury itself, you don't feel that damn injury. Not at that time. Yeah.
So you go to the locker room. You guys had a shot that, you know, to go into the. You guys were a team that no one wanted to face, even though there was conflict. You know, maybe if you would have gone round 1, who knows? Maybe Dwight would have gone together, you know. Who knows what was going to happen? Sure. It's just, you were the kind of team that, look, it's just a pain in about to face these guys. We're just hoping you don't make the playoffs, right? I'm sure a lot of people were very happy that you guys didn't make the playoffs that year. But you go into the locker room, and then one of the reporters comes up to you, and he says to you, Kobe, are you convinced that they told you it's probably torn Achilles? They're going to do an MRI. Are you pretty convinced that's what it is? And your answer is yeah.
I was thinking, like, I don't know if I can do this. Dude,
wow.
Achilles were like the kiss of death for athletes. Like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. There's so many factors. There's the surgery that has to take place. The surgery has to go well, right? And then just, it's a tendon. I'm not dealing with anything that's muscular or things that I can control. I can't control a tendon. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know. And then thinking about what that process of recovery is going to look like. It's a long one. Do I want to do that shit? I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know. So that was the hardest part.
You don't know if you want to do it, or you don't know if you are going to be able to come back from it?
Both.
Oh,
like,
both
I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I want to do it.
Got it.
I mean, it's a long process. But like, when I went in the trainer's room, my kids are in there, and, you know, they're looking at you and stuff, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, you know, it's all right. Dad's going to be all right. It'll be fine. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. As a parent, you got to set the example. You got to set the example. This is another obstacle. This obstacle cannot define me. It's not going to cripple me. It's not going to be responsible for me stepping away for the game that I love. I'm going to step away on my own terms. And that's when the decision was made that, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
You're a freaking beast, bro.
Yeah.
I notice a lot of times you go and you talk about, like, even the example you use right now. If your hamstrings are this, you're down, your wife's upstairs, your kids, you ain't going to think about it. So did you have a lot of these scenarios where you used your wife and your kids to use as no excuse, I'm going to get through this? Was that a mental conversation you had that nobody could hear?
Yeah, you got to lead by example. As parents, you got to lead by example. If you want your kids to do whatever it is they want to accomplish in life, you have to show them. You can't. You got to show them. And that's what I tried to do.